So picture this. It's 9 p.m. You're exhausted from running your business all day. The kids are finally asleep, and your spouse, who has their own career demands, wants to talk about that big vacation decision. Does that sound familiar? As both an entrepreneur and family wealth advisor, I've lived this scenario. And today I'm going to share how family meetings transform both my family life and those of many of my clients as well. Family meetings are your opportunity to slow down, connect, and make intentional decisions as a family. They're especially crucial for entrepreneurs or dual income households, executives, that sort of thing. And here's why. Think about your typical day. You're juggling business decisions, family schedules, and then both personal and business finances. When do you actually have time to think about the bigger picture? In my own marriage, we discovered what I now see in countless client families. Without a formal structure, important conversations about finances, schedules, and major decisions, they just don't happen. You're either too busy, too tired, dealing with the latest crisis, putting out a fire, whatever it is, right? And one thing I've noticed is when you're dealing with that latest crisis, you're putting off important conversations about finances, schedules, work opportunities, travel, big expenses, and other important matters. This is especially important for entrepreneurs and business owners. As entrepreneurs, we face unique challenges that make family meetings even more critical. Let me share why. First, if you have a family, every business is a family business. Our businesses are living entities that impact every aspect of our family life. Our income can double one year and vanish the next. Our stress levels fluctuate with business cycles. Every major business decision ripples through our family life. It's just inevitable. For example, when I make a hiring decision, it might mean less income for our family budget, but it also creates opportunities like more time. If I'm talking to my wife about that, though, her question might be, is that time home with the family? Or is it time I'm going to reinvest in the business? My wife doesn't work in my business. She has her own career, but I very much value her perspective. And she also deserves the opportunity to know what big decisions I'm confronting and how they may impact our financial present and future. She also deserves to know what conversations I'm having with my business partners or colleagues. Think about it. I have regular meetings with my business partners, and I bring life and family considerations into those meetings. It makes sense that I'd have life or family meetings with my wife, and that I bring business considerations into those meetings. These business decisions affect our financial security, our stress levels, and our family time. So if you're going to have family meetings, you should do them on purpose. So here's the on purpose 2 meeting system for family meetings. This is what works for me and what I coach my clients on. Break everything into 2 meetings, quarterly reviews and weekly check-ins. The weekly check-in is tactical. This is just best practice for every family. This isn't the kind of meeting where you necessarily need to bring an agenda or a written agenda, right? But your agenda should be something like review your current focus as a family, work, life, school, anything top of mind. Patrick Lencioni calls this a rallying cry. What are we like? What's our kind of guiding light right now as a family? What's drawing us forward? What are we working on? This is a good time to review progress on that. Handle pressing decisions. Number 2, make sure you deal with routine things too, like budget, spending plans, calendars. How many birthday parties do your kids need to attend this week? And do you need to buy presents, right? That's always a big question. And then track responsibilities, right? Did you do that? You were supposed to do that. Did you do this? If you didn't, how can I help you? Or, how do you think you're going to achieve that this week? It's just kind of staying in touch on these things. It's not a nitpicky meeting, or it shouldn't be, right? This is consultation. These regular check-ins help reduce decision-making overwhelm. Then if you're faced with big choices, say a family member invites you on a once-in-a-lifetime vacation to Japan, but it's going to be expensive and take a lot of time, you have an easier time figuring out whether it aligns with your family's current priorities and budget. You can make better decisions with less energy. It's just mentally efficient. So now let's talk about what makes a comprehensive quarterly review successful. Here's the structure I recommend to my clients. Values and mission statement. Review your family values and mission statement. If you don't have these, create them, right? The values are what's most important to you. You don't need to overthink this. What's most important to you? Let's say love, kindness, respect, giving to your local community, right? Church, faith, right? And the more places you can define values, purpose, mission, all that sort of stuff, now you can help navigate when these inevitably conflict, right? You want to chase some opportunity at work, but your family mission statement or, values right now are peaceful time at home. Okay. So now we're in conflict and we can make healthy decisions going forward, or at least like navigate these decisions in a healthier fashion, which segues into share and celebrate wins. This is another important part of the conversation. The family that celebrates together stays together. This is rooted in positive psychology, right? When we celebrate little wins, big wins, daily wins, this is so important. Celebrate your loved ones. Celebrate your team members at work too, right? This doesn't have to just stay in the family. I think it's just healthy to celebrate. We're a very critical society. We're a very critical culture. Celebrate. Also, express gratitude, right? What are you grateful for? What's good in your life? What good thing happened to you, and why did it happen? Right? These are such important conversations, and just allow a space for spouses, family members, kids, adults, whoever's in this family meeting with you to feel good. Right? This is a platform for feeling good and feeling connected. The next part is set and review your family's rallying cry. A rallying cry comes from Patrick Lencioni, who has a great book on family meetings. So we've used that in our family. So, for instance, my family's recent rallying cry was creating a more peaceful home environment. We decluttered, built bunk beds, and reorganized our living spaces. So remember to keep it simple. There's no need to overthink this. This was a natural transition for my wife and I as our kids kind of emerged from the baby phase, right? Like we had all this maternity clothes, we had little kid stuff, we had baby stuff. It was time to change our environment to suit our present needs, as opposed to kind of being harnessed to where we were living, a year or two ago. So that was our rallying cry. It was like a 3 to 6 month mission, and we accomplished it. We still got some work to do, but we're accomplishing it. It's great. So the next part of the quarter meeting would be a financial health check. Uh, Review your overall net worth, track progress towards savings goals or other important financial matters. For example, your emergency fund, kids' education. So maybe you're investing in 529s or something like that. Are you contributing to retirement funds? How are those contributions going, right? Are you actually contributing, or do you just think you're contributing, right? This is a good time to check in on that stuff. Also, you want to assess cash flow, major upcoming expenses. This is a good time to say, hey, in 6 months, we want to take a family vacation, right? Or one time this year. How do we save for that, right? We want to make sure it's in the budget. We don't want to just like pay for that out of cash flow in that month. That's a great way to build up some credit card debt for a lot of families, in my experience. So how are you saving for that? How is that going to be in the budget? Maybe you want to make one bigger vacation, or contrast that with 4 smaller ones, right? This is the time to talk about that and navigate those spending decisions well in advance. And you might notice I'm only talking about like family finances, right? And that's because we also have a different segment for business owners where we're going to talk about the business impact discussion. So for the entrepreneurs out there, you're going to have a final section of your family meeting. I call that the business impact discussion. And each family can decide how they want to navigate this conversation, but it's important to review the business together. Here are a few of the questions you may want to consider consulting on together. How is the business tracking against goals? Any major changes coming up or decisions you are navigating? How are business decisions affecting family life? Right. And I think like this is between you and your spouse, how in depth you want to get to, here. What I think is the main point to consider is that final one. How are business decisions or business outcomes or whatever it is going to affect family life over the next 3 6 months, or maybe even longer? That's really the heart of it. And I think that's something that spouses just really need to consult on. Also, as a business owner, you're probably used to running meetings, right? You're probably used to running the show, showing up with the agenda and running the agenda and kind of looking up and getting some comments and then moving on with your life, right? That is not the framework for this meeting. This is a meeting where you really want to step back and listen. right? This is a chance for your spouse to offer some insight, perhaps, talk about what he or she is seeing in you and your presence at home, what he or she is seeing in your business and what's happening. This is a chance to, like I said, not dominate. And I'll also point out that when we kind of get into the weeds here, this is skilled stuff. This is hard stuff. And I think that's where bringing a financial advisor or wealth advisor in who can help facilitate these conversations, super healthy. Might be, you might not talk about business, but like a marriage counselor, super healthy to have these conversations with. You don't want one spouse to dominate these conversations so that the other spouse feels very passive or like they don't have a voice and like things are almost like happening to them, right? We want to make these decisions together ultimately. I want to reiterate that we have these conversations quarterly, which might feel like a lot, right? You might not want to do these quarterly, but we do these quarterly so we can stay on top of kind of uncovering things before they become a bigger issue, right? So it's a small cut can become a wound, right? But if we talk about it quarterly, that's going to help. That's really going to help. You're going to talk about major events and travel, kids' sporting events. Maybe your youngest is starting first grade, summer school, summer programs, all that sort of stuff, which rolls into kids' activities and commitments, professional development, right? Is there a course you want to take? Is there a course your spouse wants to take? Someone's going back to school, that sort of stuff. Health and wellness goals. These are important for spouses to kind of stay on the same page with and encourage each other. And obviously that flows into budget too, if you're going to pick up a gym membership or whatnot. And then finally, and these are obviously major ones for any homeowner, but home maintenance and improvements, you need a space to talk about that. And once again, to get it in the budget so that when the thing is, happened over the summer or your pipe bursts in the middle of winter, right? You've talked about this. You've talked about this. In my experience working with clients, I found that one of the most valuable services I provide is helping to facilitate these family meetings. That doesn't mean that you're not running weekly meetings together. It doesn't mean that you can't do quarterly reviews. In fact, I think everybody should try. I think those happen on top of the meetings with me or a financial advisor like me. But I can either guide you into the process of how to start. I can be a forcing mechanism for having some of the conversations and ultimately create a safe structure and space for meaningful consultation to happen and ensure we're moving towards the family's goals that you all name. So for example, you forgot to talk about retirement, right? And that's a hard conversation to talk about. You do need some financial skills. So that might be one meeting that you kind of save for a meeting with your advisor. One of you has contributions on hold. Did you even know that, right? So these are, once again, reviewing with the advisor. Someone wants to hold on to a lot of cash. Someone wants to invest it. Someone's low risk. Someone's high risk. These are conversations where you might just want a third party facilitating and helping you navigate and making sure decisions are aligned with the goals you're naming. If you hit an impasse, you aren't sure how to navigate family expenses with lower family income because you just hired a new employee, but you also want to travel and do this or buy a new home or whatever it is, it can help to have someone actually run financial projections, right? We believe in numbers, right? Numbers can help us make better decisions. That can literally stop an argument you didn't know you were going to have in the future. I want to be clear too that my clients don't abdicate their decision making to me. It's quite the opposite. They remain firmly in control of their choices, but they value having an experienced partner who can guide discussions, offer relevant financial expertise, and help maintain momentum. I'm there to support the process, bring financial planning insights when needed, and ensure these important conversations actually happen. So when you're doing this on your own, start simple, pick a time, make it regular. The structure will evolve as you figure out what works for your family. Don't overthink this. Just try it. Throw some things at the wall. And I think you'll probably like what you find out. So to recap everything we've talked about today, there's two types of family meetings that are going to help you as you navigate business, life, family, purpose, values, all this fun stuff, right? So we have the weekly check-ins, number one. And then number two, we have the bigger quarterly regroups. Do both of them on purpose. And what I've seen happen when you do this time and again with families who implement regular meetings is that they stop feeling overwhelmed by decisions, right? They feel like they have agency, like they're on top of these things. And instead of that constant nagging feeling that important things are falling through the cracks, the kind of mental overload, that sort of stuff, they have the system, right? They have a system to fall back on. And even when they get off, they know how to kind of get back on that train. They know when and where they'll discuss what matters most. These meetings create space for true consultation, which I think is so crucial to healthy partnerships, healthy marriages, these sorts of things. And each person brings their own perspective, their own expertise, and their own concerns. When you take time to really hear each other out, you make better decisions. I've watched couples discover solutions neither would have thought of alone, simply because they created space to think together and consult. This is what's important to you. This is what's important to you. This is what I need. This is what I need, right? These are healthy things, and they will help you make better decisions. These aren't just meetings. They're dedicated time for your family to stay connected despite busy lives. They're where you ensure both partners feel informed and involved in the decisions that shape your future. This is important stuff, right? And crucially, these are where you ensure your day-to-day choices align with what truly matters to your family.